So you listen to music, you told me, when you're writing.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind? What do you get? How does that work?
I listen to a lot of different type of music. I'm not limited to just, one. I like to listen to, meditation music. I like to listen to, Beethoven. One of my favorite songs is Moonlight Sonata. And I like classical music, just to ease my mind and relax the way I'm thinking. But, when I want a more up-tempo, one of my favorite, rappers is, Jay-Z. I really respect, his talent and how he's, honed his craft, and just also, as a businessman, his business acumen is just off the charts. And then also because, he's from the same place as me, so it's kind of an automatic, Rick Ross is definitely a favorite, and the late, great Nipsey Hussle. And there's a whole bunch of people that have kind of influenced my thinking. But I've been inspired through these, lyrics and things of that nature that have kind of given me ideas when I'm talking about certain things or when I'm addressing certain things. So, through music, it allows us to, just be expressive and just release our emotions. So that's why I'm such a fan, and I, appreciate, what it has done for myself in creating this book, because I also understand that, people are, we like rhythm, right? So when something is rhyming, it's easier to follow opposed to, a book just having a whole bunch of words in it, right? So everything in this book was intentional and purposeful in the way that I wanted to convey this message with, here and there rhyme schemes and stuff like that, and then also getting you interested enough to continue to follow the story as you're reading. So music definitely, played a big part.
Well, tell us about the music, or better yet, tell us about the letter that you wrote to your son before he was born. I imagine you were listening to music to that, but talk to us about that. And if you don't mind, why don't you just read a little bit of that?
Okay, for sure. But like we saying, as we talk about music, the late great, Tupac Shakur, his song "Letter to My Unborn" is what motivated me and inspired me to pen the letter to my son. And again, as we think about how we want the best for our children. My whole thinking was, what if I wasn't around? And I know through just a letter, it wouldn't be able to, give my son everything he would need, as he grows. But also, like I said, just to let him know that I was thinking about him, before he was even here. So I'll go ahead and read it now. So when I began this writing process, the greatest blessing I could have ever received was born. This poem was written a few days before my son Messiah was born. And I want him to know that I love him more than anything. To my son, no matter how exhausting the day is, I'll never let you down. Unconditional love and care is what you'll be around. My life revolves around you. I'll always be encouraging, no matter what path you choose. Your light will illuminate the earth, keeping the sky employed. The moment we embraced, emotionally, I became overjoyed. Keeping you enlightened so you are not eclipsed by dark. Teaching you to swim so you don't learn from sharks. Apologizing now because I cannot save you from everything. Here are a few steps you must learn as prince before you become king. Have respect for yourself and for others. Always obey me as well as your mother. Tell the truth no matter what. Lies will have you tied up. Being honest is the way that you will develop trust. Never dwell in the past. Be able to forgive yourself. You'll learn money is not everything. Health and knowledge is true wealth. Get your shine on. Dim your lights for no one. Sun, block out distractions. Don't let them cloud your judgment. Most important of them all, never be afraid to have a relationship with God. Son, God is amazing. Follow the trail he is blazing. When things seem wrong, trust and believe there is no mistaking. The key to life will simply be patience. Son, rise to the summit of the mountain. There will be valleys and peaks. You can travel much further and accomplish way more than you think. Love always, your daddy.
Wow, that is quite a piece. And it resonates even with me, because as a mom so many years ago, I remember penning a letter to my son just in case. So we got that in common.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Now, how are you taking the work that you're doing out of the book and putting it together with the Eaton Project? Can you tell us a little bit more about the Eaton Project? We know it's in Miami at the University of St. Thomas. How does all of this fit together?
Well, it all fits together, you know, it ties in, like I said, everything was derived from the environment, right? Being a product of the environment and, you know, kind of honing in on this title to bring light to it. That's what the Eaton Project is all about. You know, getting young people who may not come from the best areas to exist above the noise and not always fall into the traps or, you know, succumb to the pressure of, you know, what our friends and things of that nature try to bring us into. So, you know, I developed 9 pillars for the Eaton Project that, you know, kind of goes in with the book, because what I like to do with the book, I'm all about, you know, relevancy and things that are relatable, right? Things that are realistic. That's why this book was created as well, because being in school, I always wondered, you know, why certain, you know, books and things weren't geared to my experience and things that I was, you know, used to living and seeing and things of that nature. So the Eaton Project has 9 pillars that consist of having a vision. You know, we like to talk to young people about having a vision, making sure that you're mapping out everything that you're trying to do, whether it be writing it down, planning, however you want to do it, but you have to have a vision first. And then secondly, you know, and most importantly is, you know, being able to believe in yourself. We all have to believe in ourselves no matter what it is that we do, whether other people believe in us or not, we have to believe first, right? And then we have to always figure out a way to stay motivated. How do we stay motivated despite, you know, things not going our way or things not happening for us the way we want it to happen? How are we going to stay encouraged, right? And then also controlling what the things that we can control. Oftentimes as young people, you know, we get so frustrated when, again, things aren't going our way. But when we focus on everything that we can control, we figure, we learn later when things come about that it worked out in our favor, you know, over time. And then getting around supportive people. Right? Getting around supportive people is one of the most important things that we can do. I learned that again from my environment, right? It's about, you know, you don't want to be guilty by association or things of that nature, so you want to be around the positive people who are doing the right things, that are trying to go places, that are trying to advance. And again, I like to tell people all the time, you know, when I see old friends or people that's, you know, my peers and things of that nature, I like to say, see you at the top. Right? Because if we both working hard, if you're working hard and I'm working hard, right, we don't have to talk every day, or I don't have to see you all the time, but when I get to the pinnacle, you know, I expect to, you know, see you there. And then, you know.
And you know, some of those things that you just mentioned, they are so close to what the grandparents and the mothers and the fathers tell us as young people. Did you have all of this knowledge just come to you, or is it your parents, your grandparents, the influencers around you?
Oh, I've been influenced by my mother, my father, my grandparents, everybody. I learn from everybody. I'm a people watcher. I like to study and just see how everybody's interacting with each other. I'm really big on emotional intelligence. That's very, very important, and that's another thing that, you know, I've tried to convey through the book, of the importance of being emotionally intelligent.
And what does that mean to you? What do you mean when you say that?
Well, I personally think it means that, you know, despite how we're feeling internally, you know, we still have to make a sound judgment. We still have to make the best decision, because when we make decisions, it affects more than just ourselves, right? So being able to just, you know, compartmentalize how you may be feeling, you know, personally, and then thinking about everybody around you, or thinking about the bigger picture in the long run, going back to the poem, long game, right? Everything is about seeing things further down the road, opposed to just being nearsighted and, you know, not being able to see the forest from the trees.
Now, how does your program look when students show up? You're helping young men primarily. What does the program look like? What's the structure for it?
Well, the structure is basically, you know, we had something at Florida Memorial University where we did the Black Males Explorers program, where we pilot with the workbook and stuff. And I like to do everything first based off conversation, letting everybody know in the space that we have that everybody has a voice. You know, too often times, you know, a lot of people get unheard and left out. So I like to start everything with a conversation, and then just turn them into building blocks. So going back to those 9 pillars of, you know, focusing on what does it look like to have a vision, and so on and so forth. And, you know, the 5th pillar was, you know, cultivating a positive self-image. So getting people to, again, like, be okay with what they see in the mirror and love, you know, what they see in the mirror as well. And then eliminating distractions, respecting your own path, and, you know, just always taking action no matter what. So the whole program is just geared around, you know, social emotional learning, right? How to handle situations, how to deal with problems, how to overcome certain stressors and things of that nature, and just continuously, you know, persevering. I like to do everything based off of, you know, showing people, hey, I've done this, and you could do this, and you could do much more, right? So that's what I like to focus it around, and just being personable and you expressing yourself the best way you see fit.
You were in schools also?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in a few high schools and in a few colleges have picked up the book, and we just looking to, you know, spread it around a little bit more. And
how do people get in contact with you?
Well, you could get in contact with me by visiting www.starteating.com, or you can email us at theeatingproject@gmail.com or starteating@gmail.com, and you know, anything, you know, anybody wants to know.
Perfect. So that's good. So we have that up on the screen so that people know exactly where to get you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, but we don't want to close without talking a little bit about what these. You're in the schools. You contact the schools. They say come in, sit down, and then what happens? I saw some video where students were responding to some of the images in your book. What kind of conversation do the students have when they're exploring your work?
They're just amazed. The first thing that stands out to everybody is the character looking like me. So they're always in awe of that, and just they just you know, in awe of how, you know, I was able to basically take my story and, you know, turn it into a book, again, just to show everybody that we all have a story. So don't be afraid to tell yours. So in that interaction, you know, it was like a art walk. I like art. So taking each picture out of the book and blowing them up and taking the kids on the tour and talking about each chapter. Hey, this is chapter 1, this is Genesis, this is chapter 6, this is the neighborhood. These are the things that take place in the neighborhood. This is chapter 14, New Day, when he's made it through the maze and he's overcome everything that he's dealt with throughout the story, and he's brushing the dirt off his shoulders.
Oh,
right?
Okay, so that's some of what we're looking at. It's not like the students are just sitting reading the book.
No.
They're experiencing the book.
Yeah, we're experiencing the book through pictures, through conversation. Again, I believe that that's the innovative way to learn. Learning is changing. It's not going to be no longer sitting at a desk and reading out of a book. So you got to be interacting with students, and we got to keep them engaged. So developing this art walk and letting them walk through and interpret the pictures however they want to interpret it, because again, art is, you know, based off of interpretation and, you know, how you see things.
Okay, so that's the artwork. Your images are there.
Yes, ma'am.
The students are walking by the art itself, so they're experiencing the art all at one time.
Yes. Yeah. So
and you would know because you're working on your PhD as well, right?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm getting my PhD from St. Thomas University, and we're going to get it in ethical leadership. So I'm looking forward to, you know, completing that, and it's been a fun ride thus far.
All right. How did you end up there? Just 30 seconds. How did you end up being at the university?
Well, President David Armstrong discovered me, met me through a mutual friends event, and he saw the book and he read it, and he thought the book was, you know, one of the best books he's ever read. And based off of the way the world is going, he thought that I would be an asset to St. Thomas University. So I end up landing a job, you know, because of this book. So this book has given me opportunity that, you know, I could have never imagined, and I'm grateful to be in a position.
Okay, and plug your book one more time. I saw one of the pictures where you also met Mr. Attorney Crump, who is now nationally known, but plug your book one more time. Tell us where we can find it. Okay, well, the book Ghetto Conscious, Evolution of a Rebel can be found exclusively on www.starteating.com, and, you know, I look forward to everybody checking it out. Okay, you want to call the name of your illustrator also? Yes, and a huge shout out to David Campbell for the great, beautiful artwork that he's developed, and we're excited about book number 2. Perfect. You can find out more about Brandon Vega's projects on the website, theeatingproject.com. Thank you for joining us on Empowering Voices today and every Saturday at 10 a.m. Be well and be safe.